What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, let's jump right into the topic of this video. Today I just wanted to talk about 2023 first round pick, selected 7th overall by the Las Vegas Raiders, Tyree Wilson, and just wanted to talk about what has been circulating throughout social media, and that is the fact that yesterday Max Crosby hosted a sporting event called Sack Summit, and it's basically just an event where pass rushers around the National Football League go to develop their skills. And with that being said, you got some Raiders that went into attendance, and one of those players was Tyree Wilson. And Max Crosby posted a photo where you can physically see the development of Tyree Wilson, and it's really got a lot of people excited about his potential progression this year in the offseason, not only physically but overall as a player. I mean, I like the fact that he's attending these type of camps. He needs to learn from the best, like the Max Crosbys of the world and just the best edge rushers in the league. Hopefully he can pick up a thing or two, and that'll hopefully help him refine his technique as a pass rusher. But really the elephant in the room with the Tyree Wilson picture is just the fact that the guy looks absolutely jacked. It looks like he's been hitting the weight room hard, and it just looks like he has massive strength. The guy looks like he's built. It definitely looks like he's added at least another 5 pounds of pure muscle. And mind you, this is a guy that when we drafted him, I mean, he was mainly drafted just due to his elite physical traits. A guy standing at 6'7", 275 pounds. He was already a freakish player when it comes to his strength and just overall size. And to take it even further, it looks like he's getting bigger. It looks like he's really prioritizing getting in that weight room. And, you know, it's definitely scary to think about because he's a guy that last season, I mean, he didn't really have much when it came to his overall technique. At times, he definitely was like a one-trick pony. But a lot of time, that one trick worked for him just because he's so strong. He's got the long arms as well. So just based off of that alone, he was able to push offensive linemen back. And he was able to create some plays that way. So it's crazy to think that he might be even stronger next season. And I think that's really just the biggest thing that makes Tyree Wilson so exciting and so intriguing for this team. And that's just the fact that this guy has a huge ceiling. He has a lot of potential to be untapped. He already has all the tools to be a dominant player. Really, what we're just going to be missing from him, what we're hoping he can develop, will be just the overall refinement of his technique as a pass rusher. If he can start to learn those things, if he can add some pass rusher moves to his arsenal, combine that with his freakish strength, the speed he has, you're looking at a player that could be a dominant force for our defensive line. And one of the most exciting things with Tyree Wilson is the fact that we're not like fully relying on him to have a huge breakout season, even though he definitely could. But the thing is, this defensive line has so much talent. We got Max Crosby, one of the best edge rushers in the league. You got Malcolm Koonce on the opposite side, who broke out last season and who I expect to have a big season as well. Coming into a contract year, we signed Christian Wilkins in the interior of the defense. So even with Tyree Wilson being so physically dominant, and with him potentially taking a huge step forward into year 2, the guy very well might not even start on the defensive line. But that just kind of shows how much talent this defensive line unit has and just how crazy the rotation could be on the D-line. And really, it's one of the most exciting things I'm looking forward to for this season is going to be the emergence of this defensive line and just the defense in general moving into next season. I really have high hopes for this defense. They got to put it all together on the field, but if everything lines up, if we get that dominant play up front, if our young guys can continue to develop, you're looking at a defense now going into its 3rd season under defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, under a defensive-minded head coach who you kind of just saw it on the field. the young players really gravitated towards AP, and they played a lot better under him. So you're just really looking at a defense that if everything comes together, they could easily be a top 10, top 5 unit. And if everything's starting to pan out, and if everything starts to pan out up front on the defensive line, you're talking about a defense that could create turnovers, which will in turn give this offense shorter fields, will win the turnover margin, and naturally that typically translates to victories for this football team. But just jumping back to Tyree Wilson, I mean, the thing is, it is exciting to see his development physically. And I think the biggest thing that is going to help Tyree Wilson is he finally has a full NFL offseason under his belt, that he can work on his game physically, get in the weight room, work on his technique, and just really spend this offseason to work on his game. Compared to last season, I mean, coming in as a first-round pick with all that hype and expectation, and the biggest detriment to him was the fact that while everybody else was able to get on the field, he was still in rehab, having to adjust and recover from a brutal injury that he suffered. So you saw that slow start to the season, but that was to be expected. But just unfortunately for the Raiders, we were kind of forced to put him out there. But I think currently in this season, the sky's the limit for a guy like Tyree Wilson. And this really could be a huge season for him. Now, another thing to take into consideration too is, especially with him looking a lot bigger, I mean, I don't know if this is something that Patrick Graham kind of let him know, that he's going to be playing a lot more snaps in the interior at the defensive tackle position. Because, I mean, if this was the case, this would definitely make sense for him to bulk up a little bit more. And with Tyree Wilson, we saw it last season where he did have some games where he played in the interior. We saw some snaps in that Miami game when he played up the middle, and versus the Minnesota Vikings, he had a lot of snaps at the D tackle spot, and I thought that was definitely one of his best games, his best performances of the season. So it's just really going to be interesting to see what role will Tyree Wilson have on this Raiders defensive line. Will he primarily play a lot of snaps at D tackle? Will he primarily play a lot of snaps on the edge? Or are they going to kind of mix them, splitting some snaps on the edge and the interior? You know, that's definitely an interesting topic, and it's going to be something that we should definitely keep an eye on during this offseason. Once we get into training camp, once we get into the preseason, I mean, ideally, I would like to continue to give him an opportunity on the edge. If that doesn't pan out, I think Tyree Wilson could also have a solid career in the interior. But regardless, with all the talent we have on this defensive line, I expect Tyree Wilson to make an impact in the limited amount of snaps he may have towards the beginning of the season, just due to the talent we have up front. But there's no doubt that I can see Tyree Wilson showing some vast improvement going into year 2 of his NFL career. But Raider Nation, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below on this recent update of Tyree Wilson. Are you guys excited about him moving into year 2? What do you think his role will be on this defensive line? Let me know down below. But with that being said, Raider Nation, that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider-related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.